Now, thanks to 90 Mile Wines and Anytime Fitness Glenelg, it's Chewing the Fat with Bevan Jones.
Well, g'day and welcome to another special edition of Chewing the Fat's Grand Final AFL week. This week with the Giants, a real surprise packet, knocking off the Pies last week. They take on the Richmond Tigers in the 2019 Grand Final. Who better talk about than the man who's been involved with the Giants before? He played 19 games for the Giants, was involved as their ruck coach, and 174 games for the Power, 2004 Premiership player, of course. And how can we forget the 1998 NBL Championship winner as well? The only man that's won an AFL and NBL Premiership. Bro, it's great to have you Chewing the Fat, mate.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So this year is going to be a huge grand final with the Giants being the underdogs taking on the Tigers. Last week they had a great win against the Magpies. How do they beat the Tigers this week?
Well, look, have they won their last 2 weeks, really? The Tigers are a different beast. We saw them Friday night. They've got lots of gears they can shift into, and I just think the Giants need to keep playing tough and playing like the whole world's against them at the moment. They're playing with a real chip on their shoulder. They've had some controversy through the last couple of weeks. They feel that everyone's out not wanting them to win, and they're really thriving off that. And on top of that, they've got some serious talent in their side. But what's impressed me the most is just how tough they are and how hard they hang in there, and the resilience, and that holds up in finals. That holds up. And a lot of them have had lots of experience as well. So the occasion, I don't think will get to them as much as what everyone thinks it will. So I think they're a massive chance. And Richmond, look out.
And what advice do you give these guys that are playing in their first grand final, which is a lot of the team, of course?
Yeah, look, everyone's going to embrace it differently. Some players will just embrace it and not even really worry about it. Other players will get overawed about it as well. So that's just normal. It's normal to feel nervous before any big game, let alone a grand final. But I think because they're in Sydney as well, it'll really help them detach a little bit from what's actually going on down in Melbourne and all the hoopla sort of thing. And they do a good job in isolating themselves and concentrating on what they need to concentrate on. And look, I don't think it's going to overawe them at all. And like I said, a lot of them have played a lot of them have had 4 or 5 years of finals experience. So only 2 of them been to grand final, but I think they'll handle the occasion very well.
And Leon Cameron, you know him pretty well because you're involved as a ruck coach down at the Giants. What makes him such a good coach?
He's just like a player's coach, so to speak. He great relationship with the players, very honest, and he keeps a sense of calmness around the place. The years when I was there, we lost a heartbreaking prelim against the Western Bulldogs. We're up by 17 points with 7 minutes to go, and he just keeps everything really. After that game, it was diabolical, and he's had a lot of pressure on him. But he just says it's all part of the journey. We'll be right. We'll get there in a year or two. And I think the amount of resilience he's installed into the group. They've had a lot of injuries over the last couple of years. Obviously some questionable suspensions, and just of late, Lockie Whitfield going down with appendicitis before the game. And for him to get the playing group back up, he's a really good motivator. And as well as that, he knows how to win a football game, so he's pretty good as a game plan and strategist as well. So he's the complete coach, if you ask me, and his record speaks for itself.
And as I mentioned before, you're the only man to win an NBL and AFL premiership, and back in 1998 you won the premiership with the 36ers. How'd you go from basketball into footy, and how'd you find that transition?
Mate, it was a long time ago now, I can barely remember. Look, it was a struggle early. I mean, back then, basketball, trying to play footy was pretty unheard of. They all do it now. AFL recruits would rather recruit basketballers now and turn them into footballers. So I was a bit of an unknown back then. I guess my biggest struggles were my body going from a hard floor basketball, which is not as big as a football oval, obviously, and then jumping on a football oval where it's it's 180 degrees, 360 degrees, whatever you want to call it. It's running on ground, it's getting bumps, it's been able to play with injuries and corkies. So I really struggled with that side of the game, probably for a good 2 years. And then once I'd had my third or fourth pre-season playing footy, everything just sort of to click. So I guess the first 2 years was just body, getting my body right to play in the ruck as well. It's a pretty physical position, so it took a while to adjust to that.
And 04 was a long time ago, 15 years ago now, but the Power went into that game as ranked underdogs, which is a bit similar to the Giants this week against the Tigers, of course. Talk us through that 04 premiership and how you guys did it against the Lions being such underdogs. Yeah,
there is some similarities. It's funny you say that. I mean, the Giants have lost 2 prelims and a semi-final, and it's a bit like in 04. We'd lost 4 years in a row in the finals as well, and people were starting to call us chokers. And when we won the prelim in 04, we felt that was our biggest achievement, because they're the hardest games to win. You win a prelim, you get to a grand final, and it's an old saying, anything can happen, and just to get to a grand final is so hard. You've seen how the Giants have done it. They've had to win some couple of nail biters to get there. They are really hard to get there, so getting there is just the hardest thing, I reckon. And then on grand final day, we sort of knew we were good enough once we were there. So, but there were question marks over us to actually get to the grand final. So once we ticked all those boxes when we were there, we sort of knew we can beat Brisbane. So the confidence we were full of confidence, not overconfident, but we were really confident through that week, and we just handled the week like we'd been there before. So and then obviously we won, and everyone sort of played their role and played well. So it's a little hard to think about it now, but it's this time of the year, where you start thinking about your experiences with grand finals, and they're good memories to have.
Yeah, yesterday, of course, the Magpies, not a good one. They were knocked off by the Bays, who are clearly the better side and deserved their premiership first time since '86. How'd you see that game going?
Yeah, look, it was a cracking game, and I could tell in the first 5 minutes Glenelg were really on and up for it, and they totally deserved to win. And they've been the standout side all year in the SANFL, and they actually play like an AFL side. They're well coached, they've got good skills, they've got some good players in their side, and they fully deserve it. And a bit disappointing for our boys, but it is hard for a lot of the young guys. The AFL team finished 4 weeks ago now, so to see them all go on holidays and you're still locked in is I would say, is a bit hard for a young group. And it showed up yesterday. They looked very fatigued and just didn't look up for it. So, which is disappointing for the club, because it's been a long time now since the Magpies or the Power have run anything AFL or SANFL. So we're starting to get like those teams who are a premiership drought in all divisions. So it was hard to take, but it was really impressive by Glenelg.
Yeah, that's right. They were the best team on the day. The natives are quite restless down there at Alberton. Give us a bit of optimism for next year, Brogs. How does the Power turn things around and play finals, finishing 10th this year?
Yeah, look, it's I think now that the season's finished, it's a bit of half glass full, I think. Our good's really good, and we saw that. We beat some really good teams, and we lost to the Giants by 1 point in round 20 or 21. So, and we see where they're at now, and so our good's good enough, but the things we need to work through as a footy club is consistency, and that'll be our biggest challenge moving forward. And if we kick a little bit more straighter in front of goal too, that might help. But I think the consistency between our good and our bad, we really need to work on, and whether that's physical, mental, we'll find out over the summer. But we're not too far away. You look at the prelims on the weekend, we're a fair way off that at the moment, but that gap can close pretty quickly once you get some consistency. So I think that's the main thing we'll be looking for coming into pre-season. And we won 11-11, you only got to win 12 got you in this year, so we're not too far off it. But you look at the teams playing this weekend coming up, and there is a bit of a gap now. So, but it's something that you strive for, and we'll see how we go.
And this year you were involved as the ruck coach for the Power, coming back to the Power with your mates Montgomery and Schofield from the 2004 Premiership. How did you enjoy your time as a ruck coach and working with the guys like Hayes, Framps, Laddams, and also the big Lycett and Ryder down there as well?
Yeah. Look, I really enjoyed the year. I had a year off, coming back from working with the Giants, 4 years in coaching, and it does drain you a bit, the whole coaching caper. So I came back to Adelaide and had a year off, and I really enjoyed my time. I was only part-time, but what I really enjoyed about it is I've got some really good ruckmen to work with, and range all different skill sets and different ages. So we found a player in Laddams. Scotty Lycett was good for us. Paddy was in the other side a little bit, and then you've got young Hazy coming through. And Billy Frampton had a good year as well. So I really enjoyed my time there, and I think next year is really exciting from a ruck department for the footy club, and hopefully that can contribute to a couple more wins that gets us in the finals.
Yeah, cross my fingers that Crows don't take Frampton, because I think he's good enough to play some more footy for the Power next year. So
yeah, we don't want him going over there.
And in terms of a business perspective, you've got FX. Did I pronounce that correct? Yeah,
you did. Yeah.
So what's your involvement there?
Yeah, so we're an office technology business, going to all types of businesses and set them up from anywhere from their phone systems to their photocopiers, printers, IT managed services, and all that sort of stuff, computer hardware, and we sort of get it in there and manage it for them, and encourage businesses not to buy it outright. It's a waste of money. Just lease all that sort of stuff. So, national company, we sponsor the Giants pretty heavily, so I will be going to the game this weekend on the business, which will be good. We opened up here 2 years ago, and going okay, and enjoying being in the real world, but also enjoying my finger, my toe dipped in the water a little bit back in the footy system. So got the best of both worlds. And your daughter Shalise is doing great things out at the Contacts Netball Club, of course, as well as G. Abernathy, Bruce Abernathy's daughter, and Charlie Hodges. All the famous footy dads are down there with their kids. Can we see her playing for the Thunderbirds one day? Oh, look, she's firstly it's a great club, and she's her first full year in netball, so she did really well. And you're right, it's a bit of a breeding haven for AFL footballers and their daughters, I think. So it's a really good club, and as long as she doesn't have her head in her phone, and she's playing a bit of netball and having fun and getting her outdoors, that's the main thing. But how far that goes, we'll see. Well, Dean Brogan, thanks so much for joining us on Chewing the Fat, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Problems. All the best to the Giants. Let's hope they can get the job done this week and knock off the Tigers.
Absolutely. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.